Well, guys, we'll get started here. Uh, I just wanted to go over and I don't know how many more we're going to have on. Looks like there's some people aren't going to be able to get on, but this is a good group to make sure I'm putting in your head. And I know some of you have been on some other discussions on this. Um, but one of the things that we want to concentrate on with our DEA group is start creating some standardization on starting off with terms for the industry. I've gotten feedback from like Sabine Lens, Paper Specs, and some others that, there's a lot of people out there that are, especially like design side and so forth that are confused or getting confused with a lot of digital embellishment terms and what's this mean and how does it work. And I think part of it is that a lot of companies have come up with their own, marketing terms for some of the processes, which, definitely understandable. But as that happens, I think it does create some confusion. And if we can even be, and I don't know that there's any problem with that, but if we can be a resource for designers and others where they can say, oh, okay, I understand what all these different, polymer-based adhesives versus toner-based adhesives, all of these different things. What's a true definition of each of these? I think that will be helpful. And we've started something with that, but I'd love to have you guys and really as simple as maybe even an email to outline some of the terms you think are important, especially for the design brand owner community that, sometimes isn't completely on top of that. I think sometimes we take for granted what people within our printing side of the industry understands, but we don't take into consideration sometimes kind of that next group of designers, brand marketers that don't have as complete understanding of the techniques. Warren, you have something?
Yeah, so what you could do is you could actually take all the different manufacturers, brochures, marketing, feed it into ChatGPT, prompt it to give you a directory of everything that's in there. Look at it. You could prompt it to fix it, to change it, to add to it. And as you find stuff, you could just keep loading it up and you could have a directory in a couple hours once you load up all their stuff
All the
or
different.
or you put links to the website if you have the links to where the technical data is.
I think that's interesting. Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
honestly,
it works.
if you don't do it that way, I'm just going to be an example of something a lady I know did. She went shopping. She went home. She said to her husband, I want to write down everything that we have in the pantry in the fridge and we'll put it into Chat GPT. I want to put down the expiry dates of the food. When that was all done, she prompted Chat to give her recipes for cooking that night using the stuff that's going to expire soon. She said, I will never throw out food again.
Right.
Start using it.
That's crazy.
So to build
The
lists
AI
and
stuff is amazing. It is. It's crazy. But I think, we can start some of that type of stuff. It definitely makes sense. Um, I was going to show you guys something real quick, just because this has started. Let's see. Can everybody see that up on my screen? So this is a very, very first attempt on just a few terms that I think people get mixed up with. And so we've started this. Um, but this is where I'd like to add, um, and make sure we've got a nice long, good size set of terms, for raised spot, uh, toner based foil, polymer based, you know, adhesive for digital foiling, digital specialty inks, those types of things. What is all included in that? Um, so I just would like to add to this. I don't know if anybody has any comments in regards to this, but You know,
Yeah.
what
I,
types of things do we need to add, and you know what makes sense? Any thoughts on that by just looking at it?
my only comment is when you say polymer based, it loses a certain sexiness to the technology. I might, just like you have toner based, I might say inkjet based because even that word polymer in certain circles from a sustainability standpoint could be a scary term. But if we say inkjet, then perhaps it's a bit easier to digest. Just my 2 cents off top of my head. But
I like
yeah,
that. I mean, you know, polymer base has been used quite a lot. You know, or talking about how the coating is a polymer.
yeah,
But I agree. I think that's somewhat confusing because I think, you know, even like designers understand the word UV coating, but they're not
yeah.
understanding polymer.
Well, a lot of times when I've said that to designers, I get, I'll say, I'll say polymer based, and they'll shake their head and go, oh, okay. But I can tell in the back of their mind, they're going, what the hell is a polymer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And it doesn't sound that sustainable either. I agree with that as well.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
you know, and
exactly.
I'm interested, like Spencer and Ryan, what do you guys call that? You know, from putting down the coatings, you know, the coating part.
Yeah, we have obviously done coatings for a long time, and I think we
Yeah.
saw when we first started bringing this to shows and telling people that we were getting into digital embellishment and we were using spot. A lot of people were getting confused with knockout spot versus a digital spot. So completely agree with Paul here. I mean, I started always just calling it inkjet spot UV
Okay.
coating, and anywhere where I could use inkjet, I would, because I think it quickly helps people, even more so than saying digital. It helps people realize what it is.
Yeah,
And as Paul said too, I mean, it makes a lot of sense if we're going to call one toner based, then you know the other one is an inkjet base type of adhesive. And I don't know what you guys think too. I mean, you hear, I'd like to, you know, I think we need to make the comment. I think a lot of people understand that word sleeking. I'd rather make the main heading not sleeking. I mean, you guys aren't as involved in that part of it, but I'm not a fan of the word sleeking. What the
It's
heck does that mean? I don't even
yeah,
know where it came from. I know like
Jeff,
Novellus uses it, but I,
Jeff,
you know,
it's
I would like to stay away from it. So, um, and I know Michael, you guys don't utilize that term when describing your toner base.
right. It's a trademarked term from Novellus.
Novellus,
They own the word sleeking,
they do.
right?
Okay,
So that's a process term that they have trademarked. So um not, I think transfer on toner is the best description. That's what sleeking is. There's multiple technologies on how to go about doing it. One of the technologies is what Novellus and several other companies do, where um, they repurpose a laminating machine, and rather than putting down a laminate, it puts down a transfer foil.
right.
But regardless of how you do that, it's all a transfer process onto a toner material.
Yeah,
So if it's if it's HP Electro ink, that is liquid encapsulated toner. And if it's one of the other technologies like Canon or Konica Minolta or Ricoh or anybody else, those are dry toner applications, but they're all toner applications. Would be the one part that I think when we talk about digital foiling, to call it inkjet. Um, the inkjet is the process for sure, but it's not the base that's going on. Meaning, if we want to stay with a toner based adhesive, we call it inkjet, adhesive, it's not as descriptive. I'm not saying I'm in love with polymer as a name. I'm just saying we're kind of given two different descriptions to them then.
Would you suggest something different on describing when we're utilizing basically the coating, the inkjet coating as the adhesive?
To me, it's a UV coating, right? And those UV coatings have polymers in it. So,
yeah,
Paul, I'm not going to try to be the expert on your product, but I think your guy's UV coating is a polymer-based UV coating, correct?
Oh yeah, everyone's is a UV polymer. I mean,
Yeah. So
it is.
everybody's who's using that, it polymer is the right piece. Now, if that creates confusion amongst users or designers and that kind of thing, there's no requirement to call it polymer. I'm just saying if we call it inkjet versus toner, it's not a real uh, it's not a direct comparison. Inkjet is the delivery, and toner is the consumable itself.
True.
Does that make sense, Jeff?
it does. And I'm just wondering from, as we, because I think thinking of these terms on how we're educating people that don't know, a great deal about it, maybe it is, it is all a UV coating, right? And from all of your different machines is a UV coating that is the actually what's going down, just like the toner's going down on the sheet before the foil's applied, a UV coating adhesive that's going down on the sheet. So I don't know what everybody thinks, but we can talk about it being an inkjet process, I think, in the definition, which probably makes sense, which I think we do say that through a digital inkjet process. So maybe we should say UV coating based adhesive. Does anybody have a thought, problem with that?
I agree. I think just a UV based adhesive. So you get away from polymer, and much to Michael's point, yeah, I mean the medium is toner and the medium is a UV polymer.
Mm-hmm.
So through an inkjet process or through an electrostatic process. So yeah, I agree with that actually. Yeah. Good point.
Okay. I like that. I think that's something good we've come up with that I'm gonna, add to this. I don't know if anything else comes to mind with you guys on and here's the thing that maybe we could do. What do you guys think of this? Is that some of the brand names that some of you are using and others are using, we could actually add that under these definitions, branded as, like under the toner base, branded as sleeking. And I don't know, Michael, I'm thinking of you on toner, branded as digital metal. I mean, saying that what people might look at, might have information from one of your companies and that people understand that, these are some of the brands for these processes. That may be something that it goes back to Warren. We may be able to put all that information in.
Do you want to share your screen for a minute?
Yeah. I can even minus this out. Where do I do that at? Just share.
At the bottom, click share.
Okay.
And then you have to click share and then multi-user or something.
Show meeting, slideshow, automate, pause, share. Hit share. I don't see
somebody else is in sharing mode. So that's you. So you have to get out of share. Okay, there you go.
And then hit.
You should be able to share it now.
Yeah. Okay, so you see?
Yeah.
In the couple minutes of just chatting, I asked, what's the common terms of definitions in the printing world related to embellishments, foils, UV coatings, and more? And I got like all of this. Then it gave me a breakdown of what some of them are. Then some techniques. Then I said, what is digital foiling polymer-based adhesive? Now, I didn't do any prompting after to change it or anything. I just did it at a glance, right? So it gives me what it is. The process overview from design to final result, including foil application, adhesion bonding, advantages of digital foiling with polymer-based applications. Then I said, does this apply to inkjet and digital printing? And it gave me a whole, I'll email this to you just so you have it. And then I got key points on it and then considerations. And then I said, what would the difference between digital and conventional printing related to the above? And it gave me a whole other thing. You could like have two books going at once. And then I said, what's the difference between UV coating used with toner or inkjet? Because I was listening to the conversation. Compatibility with printing technology, application process, resulting finish, inkjet and for toner, cost and practicality. You can make anything you want in your directory, right? And you keep adding it to, you should be using the paid version, but when you keep adding it, it just keeps remembering it, right? And it keeps adding, and then you could have it lay it out. You could lay it out in any format that you want. So you could
Interesting stuff.
You could take what you have there in that little sheet, add that in and say, could you make it all look like this? And it'll spit it out like that.
Spit it out with a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to it, and that because it gathers it from all.
Interesting stuff. But I might have, you can send that to me, right, Warren?
Yeah, I'll copy it and put it in the email. I'll save it in a Word. I'll save it in a Word document.
Yeah.
I think the way that Warren just broke it down is really interesting. And because it broke it down from a very quick terminology application sense. And then it got into okay, now how do you do it? What is the technology you're using, right? And I think that separation, especially when we're trying to make it easy for people, we can really have those different layers, right? Well, okay, all right, I want digital flat spot coat. I want digital raised spot coat. I want digital foil. These broad terms. Okay, cool. So you want digital raised spot coat. But how are we going to achieve that? Cool. We've gone down a level now. We're going to do that by polymer based or by to whatever the terms we choose at that next level. But I like the big, broad, easy to understand, especially for designers that aren't printers, right?
Yeah.
You could take that and say, redo that in technical format, and it'll get more technical on the wording. Or you could say, embellishment for dummies, and it won't use any word more than 6 letters in describing the process, but it makes it easy and quick in whatever way you want for people.
Yeah, I think those are some good ideas that, we might have some very more general main headlines, and then have some more detailed information under those major headlines, like you said. It could be, digital spot coating. And, I think there's probably I'm just thinking in my head, expanding some of those areas where, people want to know, what's flat spot coating versus raised spot, coating that, can be, we can have a definition underneath there. Again, those are things we know and understand, but and maybe I think a lot of designers don't understand, especially digitally. I think a lot of them understand coding and probably that you can do spot UV, but are not understanding that you can do what you guys do with your machines as far as textures and raised. And even those two different definition, a textured coating versus a raised coating. And I think those are things we can add. And but honestly, guys, anything that from this, and if you guys can think about it, I know everybody's super busy, but And Joe, you're a user, so I like that we have somebody. I was hoping there were 2 or 3 others signed up that weren't able to get on. But you know, any of the terms you see there that you get asked about by customers, and we've gone over some of those today. You know, send those to me, and you know, we can make sure and create a good definition for them, and you know, put this in a better form that everybody can use and have availability to. So I'm going to keep working on that so we can do, you know, so we can have something that we can publish.
Sorry, maybe you do an email to all the members and the people in the departments that work there that give them access to write down and answer you with what they hear, what they know, if there's anything that they could think of that stands out. Whoever replies, it'll be replies from out there, which you don't have, right? And it might be better from some of the people working in the field if it comes from them too.
Yeah, I'm going to do some more exploring with that. And then, you know, this is a good group. Once I've kind of built this up a little more, you know, Kevin's had some input in this too. I know he couldn't get on today, but we'll kind of put that together in a more finished form. And then I will send this out, you know, especially to you guys to, you know, take a look at it and put your 2 cents into anything further. But yeah, that'll be the plan. And again, I'm going to ask some other people to submit some information too. So,
and Jeff, I think it really depends on what you want from all of this, because if I understood correctly from the email and then just at the beginning of the meeting, it sounded like you wanted some standardized terms relating to digital embellishment, but then I got a little bit maybe confused with what we were going after. But if it's finding standardized terms that people will use, we are going through a similar process right now at H&B with kind of just naming different sections of our machine. I think the more technical the name gets, the more descriptive the name gets, the less likely it is to be standardized, right? If you say digital inkjet spot UV polymer based coating, everyone's going to call it something different, right? Yeah. So I think for a lot of these terms, the simpler they are, the more likely you will have people to use them. So I think being descriptive is good, but we can also be descriptive in a definition, right? The term itself doesn't need to be super descriptive.
No, I think
just enough.
That's a very good point. I was going to say, even if you said UVP, which we would call UV polymer, I'm making this up, please don't use it. But I'm just saying, to Spencer's point, that's solid.
Yeah. I think keeping it as simple as possible on the names, and then, you know, then have a definition of what those are. Yeah, it's going to make the most sense. So we'll keep moving forward on that. I'll keep you guys all updated and send you something when we've got something a little bit more put together, and we'll go from that. I want to let you guys, everybody that's going to be at Printing United on the second day at 5 o'clock, we're going to have basically a catch up for anybody that's at the show. And I'll be sending some emails out on that. So Printing United has given me, you know, permission to have one of the rooms there. We're going to have a little beer and some beer in there at 5 o'clock as soon as the show's over. Just, you know, and 45 minutes to an hour. So all you guys, if you can make it, I'd appreciate it. That'd be great. We'd love the support. Warren, are you going to be at the show?
I am.
All right. So it's the second day. When I said Tuesday, it's the second day of the show. Now the show's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is that right?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
You're already off to a bad start.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It'll be Wednesday at 5 o'clock, second day. So make a note of that, but I'll send all of you guys an email so you can put it in your calendar. Matter of fact, I might even just send an invite to those who are part of this, our DEA membership group. We'll send an invite out just like we do for the catch up, and we'll plan on a catch up at 5 o'clock. And we'll talk about these standardizations at that meeting and get some input. I think sometimes being there personally, in person, sometimes, you know, we might get some more you know, people to contribute and talk, and we'll record it and make some notes. So plan on doing that if you can. Hopefully you guys can stop by, and I'll give you the room number and all that stuff.
Cool. Also, you can start to look for the book.
The book, Printing's Alive by Warren. Love it.
Change the cover. Put a different guy on the front. Maybe we'll be in.
Is that a roll of foil on there, Warren?
By the way, the inside's blank.
Makes sense.
No, it's not. It's not.
There you go.
Big words.
It's just different
lots
pictures of Warren.
Very few, double spaced, big font.
Awesome.
Anyways, I'll be sending the link out to Amazon.
There you go. Let us know.
And printed it locally. At the last minute, I decided, fuck the price overseas where it was. I'll get killed if I don't print local. And then after the exercise, I'll tell you this: 7 places I went online to quote, only 2 people followed up asking for the order.
Really?
No one else called.
Huh.
So,
well, maybe that's good. People are busy.
Things. Yeah, a few things you learn though in the middle, in the process of doing something new, right? But it'll be all industry specific later. Anyways, lots of fun to do that.
Awesome. All right, guys, I really appreciate your time with this. I'll keep you updated on this, and we'll probably we're going to skip the online chat next month because we'll be at Printing United and everybody's got shows, and we'll get back together later in probably October. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.